The Friday Morning Rant contains adult humor, adult language, adult themes, satire humor, and all that good shit. So if you don't like that kind of humor, this page isn't for you, Jack, so piss off. Again, I keep saying page. I don't know why, but I'm leaving it in. Welcome to the Friday Morning Rant with Shane Halfyard. It is Friday morning, April 26, 2019. Hope everyone had a good Easter last week. Was it last week? Yeah, geez, it was last week. So my kids did. I told them this year, instead of chocolate, if they really wanted a Wii, I would spend the money on a Wii. And that's what we got. And my daughter is downstairs right now dancing. So there we go. Well. It's been a good week for me. Especially for this type of channel. I actually last week I talked about someone who said they were a subscriber. They're one of the 6 subscribers, and well, this week I went up whole 2 subscribers. Woo! I'm at 8. So that's good. I don't know who one of the subscribers is, because when they subscribe, they can subscribe anonymously. But this one woman left a comment, so I figured I will read it, and I will count that as, going in the draw. Because right now there's only one guy in the draw for this month. So her name is Katie, and Katie, dear, I'm sorry, I'm going to try my best to pronounce your last name. And if you're listening to this, let me know in the comments how well I did. It's Bisaloglis, Bisaloglis, Katie Bisaloglis. Again, I know I butchered it, but at least give me a hint. How well did I do? Okay, leave that in the comments if you hear this, Katie, because I would love to see how well I did. But anyway, she said, "I found your channel. We'll follow your YouTube show," and then she's subscribed. So I'm counting it. Katie, you're in the draw for next week. And don't worry, if you win or lose next week, you're still in the draw for the end of the year for the $100 gift card. All right? So next week, I'll be drawing for the $25 gift card of their choice. And it's between Katie and Kirby K. So I'm thinking for this one, I'm just going to do a coin toss. That's all I'm going to do. Because I don't, there's no point in doing it any other way. It's 50-50 either way I do it. So I'm just going to flip a coin, let you know the results. So, clicking through the YouTube there, and I saw some previews for this show called Cobra Kai. So I was not paying attention, and I was looking around and trying to find, was it on TV? Where was it? But it turns out it's a YouTube exclusive. And it is about Johnny from the original Karate Kid movie, and how his life is, and how he's getting back on track. And it's also about how well Daniel LaRusso's life turned out. Basically, Johnny lost a competition. His sensei wigged out, beat the shit out of him, and that's basically. It seems to have ruined his life. He seemed to have no focus, no drive, no nothing. He's just a handyman. Doesn't see his kid. It's just an all-around, broken guy. I would say he's broken. That's how I viewed it. I only seen the first 2 episodes. But he seems broken. Like he's letting that loss affect him. Right? Now, I was a martial artist for years, and I was a wrestler for years. And when I entered wrestling competitions, if I won or lost, I took them both as learned experiences. But this man, of course, he was raised in the Cobra Kai dojo, where they said, winning is the only thing, and no mercy, and all that evil, mean stuff. Grr, arg. So it really affected him. But you start to feel sorry for this Johnny character because Daniel LaRusso kind of grew up to be an asshole. Like, he's always kind of rubbing it in his face how he, like, in the first 2 episodes, he mentioned how they fought, a couple times, how he kicked him in the face, how he, mentioned a few things here and there. And, this is 35 years later, folks. It's time to let that go. I mean, this guy won, and he's still kind of holding the grudge. And he tried to soften it a bit. I don't want to spoil too much, but basically, Johnny's car gets, damaged, and Daniel LaRusso owns a used car lot, and also a body shop. So he does it for him for free. That's all nice. But like I said, he took the time. He had to make sure, though, that he brought up how he won by kicking him in the face. How the guy's girlfriend wasn't his girl anymore. And then even said, I don't hold a grudge against you all those years because it was Cobra Kai, and thank God that's gone. Well, the guy gets inspired, opens up the Cobra Kai dojo, has his first student, and it goes on from there. And I'm enjoying the show, the wife's enjoying the show, and if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. Especially if you grew up in the 80s and you were a Karate Kid fan. This is a really interesting way of telling Johnny's side of things. So, totally recommend it. Just get out there and give her. The other thing we've been watching lately is Friends. Now, Friends came out in, I think, 93. I was 16 and didn't give a shit about Friends. Okay? Like, I didn't watch it. I didn't pay attention to it. I didn't care. So I didn't watch it at all. This is actually my first go through of the series. I mean, I would see an episode here and there if I was at a buddy's place or a girl's house, or if my parents were watching it and I wanted to, hang out in the living room with them. But I really didn't follow the show. And so my favorite character is Phoebe. I mean, everyone goes on about, they think she's real stupid, but she plays with them all the time. She messes with their heads, and it's hilarious. And she's a pervert. She's I think it's the first or second episode. She's sitting there on the floor, and Joey gets brought in. He's only in his robe because someone has an announcement to make. So Joey sits down, and his robe opens up a little bit, and the girls look away. And he goes, "Oh, sorry," but Phoebe is taking a good long look. And I was like, that is awesome. But I think we're 6 seasons in. But we watched an episode not too long ago where Rachel and Ross broke up. Ross wanted to get back together with her that very night. Wanted to make up with her. Well, she had a friend from work over. Okay? She had a friend from work over, some guy that was obviously interested in her. And Ross calls. And he hears his voice in the background. She goes, "Yeah, I know it's Mark." And, he hangs up. And he ends up sleeping with a woman. Well, they try to get back together. She finds out he slept with that girl. And she dumps him. And she's mad at him. And she's putting him down. And all this stuff. He's an awful person. Now, do I agree that Ross may have jumped the gun and slept with that girl too quickly? Yes. Totally agree with that. But Rachel's actions, she's not taking anything into account. She's still kind of a spoiled brat. And I think that's supposed to be her character. Because she's still kind of a spoiled little princess. Because as far as she's concerned, Ross is a horrible person for sleeping with that girl. Even though she dumped him. And then when he called, of course, he knew Mark was interested in her. Mark was there. So he thinks, well, she brought Mark over to her house. And that does look bad. Right? You come off of a break. I guess he was drinking, but I don't view drinking as an excuse. But you come off of a break, and then you try to make up with her, and then there's another dude there. That's Should he have trusted her? Whatever. Who knows? I personally wouldn't have jumped in the sack of another chick. Just not right away. Not like that. That's just not the way I do things. I would have backed off a bit and waited a while. When my ex and I broke up, I wasn't with anybody for like, I don't know, 6 months, something like that. So, because you need time to heal. You need time to recover. And, now how fast was my ex with someone? I have no idea. That's her business, and I wouldn't presume to ask. So yeah, so their relationship is in the show is up and down at best, and it's funny. I'm finding the show funny now. Back in the day, I didn't. But that brings me on to my topic: relationships. Okay. Now, some of you out there are probably thinking, well, what does he know about relationships? Like, how does who the hell is he to presume to talk about relationships? Like, why would he even think about that? He know anything? I mean, he's obviously a very toxic person, and quite evil. Excuse me. But you'd be surprised what I know about relationships. I've been in some real toxic relationships. Real toxic. Okay? My son's mother and my oldest daughter's mother, my current ex, those two relationships were extremely toxic and extremely volatile and just wrong. Okay? Both of them. Now, this isn't going to be a bitch fest about how, saying how great I was and how bad they were. No. There were mistakes made on both sides, as in almost every single relationship out there. Okay? My son's mother has an illness. She's bipolar, and there's a few other things going on in her life. And we got together when we were both 17. Maybe 16. 16, 17. Anyway, don't matter. And it was one of those relationships where if she wasn't happy with what I was doing, she would storm off in a huff. And then I would run after her and, or I'd storm off in a huff. And, it's teenage bullshit. And I would have ended it with her, fairly quickly. But she got pregnant with my son. So I stayed with her throughout the pregnancy. After she was settled, she and I broke up. And we had a toxic relationship, co-parenting for, I'd say, the first 7 years of my son's life. But at one point, she did an amazing thing. It was like a moment of clarity. She realized that she was ill and she couldn't raise our son anymore. So we went to court and she gave me custody. And I was amazed at that. And that showed me right there that she was starting to grow up and she was taking her condition seriously. And, my son has now, he's matured, he's grown, he's working, he's had a pretty good life after that. And then my second, toxic relationship, it was again one of those back and forth, when we'd argue, it would end up being a competition. Who could yell the loudest? And I realized then that that's not the type of relationship I want to be in. I'm sure that's not the type of relationship she wants to be in. But I think we felt that it was too late to change. I think that was what our main deal was. So we couldn't change. So eventually we went our separate ways. But I don't regret either one of these relationships because I got a young and responsible son and I got a beautiful daughter out of it. Okay? So those were the toxic relationships. What could be done to avoid a toxic relationship? Well, first of all, both parties in the relationship, both sides, have to be open to having a non-toxic relationship. You both have to be on the same page. How do you do that? Well, this is how I did it. And it worked for me. I'm not saying it will definitely work for you. I'm just telling you what worked for me. And you can take it in or you can chuck it out. What worked for me is when Girlie and I met, we were talking on the phone a lot. And she was telling me about her relationship with it was her husband at the time. And what a bastard he was, and blah, blah, blah. And this guy was real rich. I mean, this guy was a real piece of work. Okay, this dude encouraged Girlie to get a job abroad because they're from the Philippines, and told her to send all the money back to him, and he'll build the house, and she can work in Canada until she retires, and then she can come back to the Philippines and live with her. Oh, and he'd visit her once in a while. So Girlie agreed, and she went and started sending money back home. Well, this genius, this mastermind of subtlety, starts banging her cousin in the same village they're from. No one's gonna notice that. So, of course, Girlie found out and dumped his ass. Just bam, she stopped talking to him. It was over. She was done with him. And then she started talking to me. Well, a few months later, she started talking to me. We didn't start talking like right away. And, yeah, that was his genius work. So I told her that, because I know that Filipinas will do tampo. Okay? You know you Filipinas do. You do that tampo thing where you get all pouty, you say nothing when the man upsets you, and then you try to make him jump through some hoops, and, you know, basically get him to ask you over and over again, practically begging you to tell you what's wrong. You know, and not just Filipinas do that. You know, lots of women do that. Well, I don't do that. I'm not going to jump through some hoops and practically beg you to ask you what's wrong. And I told her that. I told her up front. I said, look, if you have an issue, if I'm doing something that upsets you, and I'm not catching on that it's upsetting you, you need to understand that I can't read your mind. Okay? Can't do it. And I'm not purposely going out of my way to piss you off. So if you get upset about something, and you come to me and you say, honey, what you did here really upset me, and this is why. Even if I don't fully understand why it upset you, I'll still stop doing it. It's really that simple. So she thought about it, and she says, okay, we'll try it. And we don't lie to each other about anything. Like, I don't lie to Girlie about anything goes on. All right. We discuss everything, even the smallest purchases we make, we discuss it. And we do that because we want to be on the same page. So, i.e., I love collecting vintage toys, and I see one on sale that I know I can get before I even buy it. I'll message her, look, it costs this much. Do you think we can afford it? Or do you have plans for the little extra income we have right now? And she'll say, yeah, I get it. Or she'll say, look, this thing's coming up for Cassandra at school. Maybe not. And I'll say, okay. And she does the same thing with me. I'm the one that handles all the bills. That's just what she wants me to do. But when I pay the bills, I keep a logbook of where my money's going, or where our money's going, because she also helps pay the bills. And I tell her each Friday, I say, okay, today I put money on the power. Today I put money on the cable. Today I put money on whatever, right? And she's like, great. And she just wants to be informed, and she wants to know that she can access those records. And it's made our life together a hell of a lot easier. Is our relationship perfect? Of course not. We still have arguments, but we also refrain from yelling at each other. We don't scream at each other. We don't, throw things and have fits. We talk about it, right? And we can be upset, but we can just talk about it. And a lot of people, some people out there, they believe that you need to kind of yell at each other once in a while to blow off some steam that makes a stronger relationship. Well, I don't believe that in a second. All right. Me and my ex yelled at each other all the time, and I didn't feel our relationship was stronger. In fact, we ended up sleeping in separate rooms before we broke up. Okay? So, it's, and when you start sleeping in separate rooms, your relationship's already on a downward spiral. Unless, possibly, say someone has a real medical condition about snoring, or is an insomniac. There's exceptions. But I'm saying if there's no physical reason why, like there's nothing physically wrong with the two of you, and you start sleeping in separate rooms, yeah, you need to take a step back and take a real good look at your relationship. Right? Another thing is the nagging. Okay? I told my wife, you don't have to nag me. Right? Because there's reminding politely, and then there's nagging and constantly bitching about stuff. And I said, there's no need of it. If you have an issue, just talk to me about it. If I do forget, because it's possible, everybody does, just politely remind me of it, and I will jump to it and get it done. Because I think what goes on is people have a set idea of how they want their relationship to go and what they want out of it. And that's good. That's fine. But sometimes I think people don't take into account what the other person wants out of the relationship. And so me and my wife, we do that. We talk to each other constantly. We let each other know our thoughts and feelings about anything and everything. And I feel that it works for us. Sometimes she picks the bad times to talk to me about her issues. Like, ladies, can any one of you tell me why you feel a need to discuss everything just before we go to sleep? Okay? Like, example, I'll come home from work at around 10:30 at night. My wife has supper ready for me. We eat and we watch TV. Okay? We watch the old Netflix. But, we're married, so we don't Netflix and chill. We just Netflix. So anyway, she ain't saying nothing. She's completely quiet throughout the whole thing. And if she wants to talk, I would certainly pause or shut off the show and talk to her. I would be happy to. But no, she waits until I'm in bed, halfway dozed off, and then boom, I get to hear everything about her day. At one point, I kept poking her. I gently poked her forehead, lightly poked her nose, gently poked her shoulder while she's talking. And she just keeps on talking. She doesn't stop. And then she goes, "Why are you poking me?" And I went, "I'm looking for the off switch." Turns out there's no off switch. And another night, she kept going on and on and on. And I was really, really tired. So I gently picked up a pillow and gently placed it over her face. Now, I know some of you women out there who may be listening to this are probably thinking, if I was her, I would have told him right off and blah, blah, blah. Well, you don't have a sense of humor, okay? My wife has a sense of humor. She just laughed, right? And then, went, "Oh, puppy, you don't love me. You're not nice." You'll say something like that, but she's laughing. Like, we get each other laughing so hard we're crying sometimes. So that's how we handled it. But I just don't understand the whole nighttime talking. So if any women, like Katie, if you're listening to me, can you tell me why you girls do that? So that's one way to build a strong and healthy relationship. Communication, right? Talk to your partner. The other thing is compromise and acceptance. All right, some of you out there are not going to agree with this, and that's okay. But if my wife, hypothetically, wants to look at my Facebook page, or when I had a cell phone, she wanted to look at it, I'd let her look at it. Yes, it shows that she's not very confident, but she had a husband that cheated on her for a long time. She's only had 2 real relationships in her life, me and her husband. So she's not going to be a very confident person. So I let her. And if she says, I'm not comfortable with you going alone to a movie or something with a girl, then I don't go alone to a movie or something with a girl as a friend, because I accept her for who she is. And if she's not confident in herself, I cannot do those little things that upset her. But I expect her to practice what she preaches. So if she wants to look at my phone or my Facebook page, under my supervision, of course, I'm the one that opens it up for her, then she should be more than willing to do the same for me. If she doesn't want me she does not necessarily want me to have female friends. She doesn't want me to hang out alone with female friends. And if she doesn't want me to do that, then I expect her not to hang out with male friends alone. Because to me, it's, practice what you preach. Right? I don't particularly care. I'm not that, I've always been a confident person in my relationship. I trust the people I'm with. Both my exes had male friends. They hung out. They did things together. It didn't bother me. But since my wife says, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, I expect her not to do those things as well. Otherwise, she's being a hypocrite, and I can't stand people being hypocritical. Now, if you feel that's too much, it's too much. Don't accept it, right? You have to take a look at the person you're with, look at how they are, and weigh the pros and cons. If you love the person enough, you can make those little sacrifices. All right? You can do that. And if you don't, then it ain't going to work. You may as well just stop and end the relationship right there. Don't try to change them. Don't try to make them better. Don't try to fix them. It's not a home improvement show. It is a relationship. And there are things you're not going to be able to change in a person. In fact, you shouldn't try to change anything in a person. Except for, maybe bad habits, like try to get them help for, alcohol addiction or anything like that. But I just mean, like, at the core of who they are, you got to let those things be. They are who they are. And it's work. Relationships are work, right? And it's compromise, and it's trust building, and it is sometimes very frustrating. But in my opinion, it's worth it. There are groups out there, both on the men and women side of both sexes, that don't want a relationship because they feel it's not worth it. Now, the MGTOW guys, they say, "Oh, it's not worth it for a variety of reasons." Well, I don't agree with them. I think a good, healthy relationship is totally worth it. Right? Even hypothetically, if my wife and I got a divorce, say 10 years from now, I'm knocking on wood, I would never look back upon our relationship and say, we should not have I regret that relationship. I don't look back upon my relationship with Eleanor's mother and Marcel's mother and say, God, I hate that I had that relationship. No, I don't. I do look back upon those times and say, I wish I had handled things better. Like my current ex, she has OCD. And, she was always a very controlling person. But I didn't know how to handle that back then. In fact, I did everything I said not to do in your relationship, I did. I would lie to her about stuff. I was running a school for 10. I was running a martial arts school teaching Kung Fu and Sambo for 10 or 12 years. Okay? I can't remember how long it was. 1996 to 2009. So, 13 years. So anyway, I was teaching Kung Fu and Sambo 3 nights a week at the high school. Okay? And I was, I loved doing it. And was it a big school? No, I think the most I ever had was about, 16 people at a time. Right? So not a big school, but it paid for the school, the rental of the area, and I got a little extra money a month. Not a lot, but a little bit. And my ex just wouldn't listen to me when, like, if I wanted to treat her, if I ordered us a pizza, right? For 20 minutes, she'd be asking me where the money came from. And for 20 minutes, I have to say, all my students paid me. It's the first of the month. I've already put the money aside for the room rental. What I bought us as a treat is just a treat. And then a couple minutes later, well, where'd the money really come from? So eventually, I've always had someone, like, I had like 3 students living in my basement, right? In the apartment in my basement. 3 of my students wanted to live with me. So I would actually train with them 5 nights a week at one point. So I eventually said, this is a treat from Mark. He bought the pizza. You know, because he usually be eating pizza with us. And he chipped in his share for the pizza. But I'd say, no, he bought it outright because he wanted to treat us. And Mark was like, yeah, I did. Because, and he didn't believe me. He was like, why am I lying? I said, trust me, man, you don't want me to admit this to her. It'll ruin our dinner. No, okay. So he kind of didn't believe me. So then one night I admitted to her. I said, no, I bought this. And then he saw her. Where'd the money come from? Where'd you get the money? How'd you pay for this? And the next day he goes, man, if you want to lie about me buying stuff, just do it. I understand now. Don't worry about it. And I can look back this and laugh. But I was totally wrong in doing that. There was no real justification in handling that situation that way. What I should have done was I should have sat her down and talked to her and let her know that everything's okay. That things are fine. I should have encouraged her to see a therapist more. I should have went with her to the therapist more. But I wasn't thinking about those lines. I wasn't mature enough. Right? You know, you're a totally different person at 22 than you are at 42. Okay? And if I could go back and tell myself, listen, man, lying to your woman is totally wrong and don't do it, I would. And those are the things I regret about my past relationships. I don't regret that they ended because I'm with my current wife, and if they didn't end, I wouldn't have my daughter. Wouldn't have my youngest. I just regret how I handled certain situations. And I'm sure all of you have that. Anyway, not a very exciting rant this time. I just wanted to talk about something a little more closer to home. If you liked this podcast, please hit that like button. Share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. If you want to be in the contest to win a $25 gift card of your choice, all you have to do is subscribe, leave a comment down below, let me know you've subscribed, and possibly ask a question, give a topic idea. Or you can also email me at shanehalfyard@hotmail.com, wherein you can just do the same thing. Say you're a subscriber, ask your question, make your comment, call me an asshole, whatever you want to do. And if I read it on the air, you will be put down for the draw. In December, there is a draw for a $100 gift card of your choice, just in time for Christmas. For everyone who leaves a comment, not anyone, I don't have to read it. For everyone who's leave a comment and subscribed, and let me know you subscribed, you'll go into that draw. Okay? So, 2 ways to win. Good luck to everyone out there. Take care of yourselves and each other. And I will come back to you next week. Oh, wait. There's one more thing. I want to address something real quick. Someone sent me an email asking me on a very serious topic. I'm not going to go into it right now. But if you're listening, I didn't ignore it. It is a very good topic. It is a very serious topic. But I didn't have the time to give that topic the attention it deserves. Okay? there was a lot of, like, you sent a lot of links to a handful of videos, a handful of articles, and that's going to take me a little bit of time to go through it all. So if you're listening, I want you to know that it's either going to be next week or the week after that I will address that topic, but I will be addressing it. I really like this topic, and I think it should be discussed. Okay? So if you're listening, I'm not ignoring you. It was just a lot to process. In fact, my computer was like no good to me until Wednesday. Okay? So Wednesday and Thursday to prep for the show, not enough time. So I'm going to look at this information over the weekend. I'm hoping to have the show ready by next week. If I don't, I will have it ready the week after on this topic. Other than that, again, like I said, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you next week. Bye.